For centuries, they had been lying, robbing, and killing. Until one day, they ended up being a part of the elite. They took highest positions of the hierarchy not because they were highborn, but of the ruthless bloodshed. As the old Chechen saying claims, the real power isn't your resolve on some battlefield. The real power is to know who is your true enemy. And how you can defeat him. Peace be upon you. My appeal today may seem irrelevant. Still, I feel obligated to express my opinion about the evil which once again coming out of Kremlin. Why I say once again? Because we Chechens have been fighting this evil for 400 years. Many nations conquered by Russia being taken too easily, some with almost no resistance. Mostly we, Caucasians, who considered themselves being freeborn, couldn't accept the occupation and started to resist. That's the reason why Moscow slaves hated us from the bottom of their hearts. They hated us because of our resistance, which showed him, who had been already occupied by Moscow, that Russians can be denied and defeated. Some Caucasian nations were completely exterminated, but despite that, despite huge differences in number of troops, our ancestors were carrying on fighting on how now have been fighting as well. Today, in Ukraine, alongside Ukrainian soldiers, Chechens are continuing to fight for their freedom, peace and justice. I don't want to talk much about the war. It's obvious who is right and who is wrong here, although we Chechens know it since 1994. As long as Russians will stick to their empire, as long as they didn't want to destroy so-called Russism, the ideology which happened to be much worse than fascism, they always will live on behalf of others, always fed by someone's blood. They don't really care whom to oppress. If not Chechnya, they'll come to Azerbaijan, Georgia, or even Europe. They won't stop. Sure, Russia had bigger appetites a while ago, big plans for conquering our countries, but they recently were burned in Afghanistan. Invasion had gone wrong. There is an animal joke about a wounded and bandaged ant which passed by a mosquito who asked him why he had been wounded. Nothing special. Just wanna feast on a cricket. Happened to be a cigarette, and likewise Russia picked up a wrong object for feeding his belly. This defeat cut off a bit of Russia's appetite, but not to the end. After that, Russia decided to win our Europe. When they was burned in Afghanistan, they started to flirt with Europe, using it for their own advantage to get an influence all over the world. To gain more power until India Ocean, and after take our Europe as well. The first was Afghanistan and our troubles. And now Ichkeria. Ichkeria reduced Kremlin's appetite as well, but haven't fully satiated their hunger. There will be a war in Crimea. Russia soon will try to conquer Ukraine. Russia's empire will never give up their ambitions as long as Russism exists. Russia is masking invasion plans under word Slavianism, using it as a cover. They soon will try to subjugate Ukraine and Belarusia. They want to throw them under Kremlin's feet once more in order to build stronger empire, much like in the past. Nowadays, no country really wants to be an ally of Russia. Not just some military ally, but the political ally as well. They don't want to mess with Russia, because now they know what Russia stands for. I saw comments that some Ukrainians wrote in internet regarding Chechens. You were invaded by Russia. Why are you fighting in Ukraine on behalf of Russia? Those words forced me to make this video. In 1994, Russia invaded my country, which by the way was declared earlier when today is Russian Federation. Our constitution had been adopted 1 year before Russian Federation adopted theirs. Russia made us a part of their country illegally, against their own laws. Chechnya had the right to be free and build their own independent state, exactly like our ex-USSR republics, Georgia, Ukraine, etc. After the collapse of their empire, the new Russia didn't want to leave its imperial ambitions because of the fact that there wasn't some sort of Nuremberg tribunal for USSR crimes. Russia decided to take same path of forcibly including other nations in their state. They declared Chechnya as a part of their new country. Kremlin somehow came to the idea that Chechen's independence declaration is an empty sound. As Russian General and Minister of Defense, more correct definition would be Minister of Attack, Russian Naval Defense, frankly, said he would be able to take Grozny in 2 hours with only one airborne regiment. But something got wrong. Chechens resisted so successfully that Russia asked for ceasefire negotiations. As a result of those negotiations, Russians had been forced to grab their stuff and leave Chechnya, practically capitulating and giving up their idea to hold Chechnya, at least for time being. One of Russia's representatives, namely a human rights defender of Russian government who took part in Kosovo peace agreement, threatened Chechens. We will get strong in 5 years and then we'll show you. The Russian occupants didn't leave us completely. They just scaled down their invasion, began waging a secret war. They attacked our custom officers once, bombed boundary areas, acting completely with impunity because they didn't have any air defense system. Our people asked for help, international organizations, politicians, other countries, but none of them come to help us. We thought Muslim countries will stand for us, that they will say something on our behalf on the international scene, but none of them did it either. Just think about it. No single country, no single government said something for us. We were left one-to-one with our wild Russian beast. West was thinking that such feeding of that beast would be enough to ease Russia's ambitions, but that assumption happened to be wrong. Beast saw he had free hands to do whatever he pleased. This evil beast Russia struck Chechens again. They again started to kill, torture, blackmail our people, taking them to concentration camps, torturing, humiliating, and giving us back dead bodies, sometimes without organs. Moreover, often not just giving back, selling us the bodies of our relatives. I could tell you many examples of such ill behaving of Russians, but that's not the point of this video. By the way, same things will happen with Ukrainians now, if they will all be occupied by Russia. That's why our motto was liberty or death. Take that motto as well, Ukrainians, and keep it always in mind. I'm not trying here to teach Ukrainian military. They are doing their job just fine. I can only admire their army. I went a bit off topic. Let us get back to the Chechen-speaking people who invaded Ukraine together with Russians. The same Russians who killed 300,000 our people, including 42,000 children. 8,000 still have been missing. Dmitry Rogozin, the chairman of Russian Parliament Committee of International Affairs. Let us talk about the full picture honestly. Here, a colleague of Mr. Shainov have mentioned 8,000 missing Chechen persons. Someone can think it's too many, but I think it's too few. Although all our country was destroyed, in Russia's jails, or better say Russian concentration camps, up until now being held our people, tens of thousands of Chechen people. We all are at war with Russia. All our people are hostages of Russian military, like Jewish people back in the time were prisoners of Pharaoh. These Chechen people from Battalion Ahmad who are fighting in Ukraine on behalf of Russia, they are fighting against their own kind too. Their dungeons in Chechnya up until now being held and tortured Chechens, wrongly accused. Russian their Chechen marionettes are faking evidences, sending us to Russian jails, torturing and forcing victims of such injustice to sign a false accusation against themselves. They are people who had been sitting in their dungeons for years before forced to incriminate themselves. The last resort for those victims who continue to oppose, they bring their sisters or wives and say that they will be raped before their own eyes if victims will continue to refuse to sign a false confession. And you Ukrainians want to call those people Chechens? Come on, you are insulting us. More to it, that shows us our suffering still didn't an issue for you. In 1994, some of you helped us. We are thankful to these people. We'll never forget that they did. Those of you who wrote such comments look like you haven't interested in our distress and suffering. We Chechens, whether we are created by God or nature, I don't know, we are very sensitive to injustice. We hate any lack of fairness, no matter where it happens. We sacrifice often our own lives to save ours. We Chechens even haven't been drafted in Russia's military. Chechens and Ingush haven't been drafted into Russian army because we don't support oppression system which is dominated there. Stupid rules which make slaves of Russian soldiers. So I want to appeal to Ukrainians, those human beings who attacked you, they aren't normal Chechens. They have no dignity, no shame. They are slaves and occupants without nationality. The real Chechens now is fighting alongside you. All the normal world is supporting you as well. Back in time in 1994, we had no such luxury. The world betrayed us, closed the eyes and ignored us. We don't exist anymore. But now war is upon you. In Europe, Russia threw all their masks. They warned the world, but the world didn't want to hear us. On the contrary, the world was feeding the beast. All world is guilty what have been happening now. It's the consequences of our behaving, our silence. But everything which has a start has an end as well. Ukraine will fight off his enemies. As our first president Johar Dudayev predicted in his great speech, Russia will die in time when Ukrainian sun will rise up. Glory to Ukraine and death to our enemies.